You look around yourself and you see 100 years ain't what it used to be.
Get your hearing aid turned up? What about your false teeth? Got those in?
Bob goes home
Got
Saturday.
a fresh diaper on?
I don't want that on the air. I'm tired of him with this old man
It's
shit.
fucking noon, everybody. God.
Hey, watch your language. We're on the council.
Well, I mean,
Fratelloni's Hardware and
no,
Gardens.
hold on.
He's not even ready.
I was
He's
rolling.
berating us and he's not ready.
I pointed and everyone started talking again.
I'm going to start talking every time you point.
Let's talk this out.
Let's hug it out.
Yeah.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic podcast number
Feels like that
1460,
sometimes.
January 10, 2025. 52 degrees on this day in 2012. Now, that was the year we really had a beautiful, warm spring, early spring arrival, and 30 below on this morning of 1886.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Offsite correspondent Downing has linked the California fires to my desire for a fake Mount Everest.
Okay, yes.
First, you talked about building a replica of Mount Everest and how much dirt that would take. Then you talked about L.A. needing to dig a giant reservoir to provide water for fighting fires. Can't you see it? L.A. digs the enormous reservoir and gives the dirt to Disney, which builds a replica of Everest. Tourists flock to the new attraction, resulting in more spending and more taxes collected in L.A.
Wow. That's the perfect plan. Uh-huh.
The Vikings game against the L.A. Rams in the first round of the wild card has been moved to Glendale, Arizona.
Call me now. What are your thoughts?
Much to your chagrin.
No.
Joe. Joe.
When it first came up, Ken,
Via email.
I said, I don't know, it's 15 miles from there. They're down on the flatlands. I don't think it's a problem. Well, it is a problem because the air is so smoky that it would be difficult there. I think it's a wise move to move it.
The much
You
larger.
said
No, I don't think I said that, Kenny.
Yeah, because it was on the crawl. It was on the not the council, but the YouTube. Somebody said, will that affect the L.A. SoFi Stadium?
But the main thing is you're missing two larger points.
What's that?
Well, the optics are just horrific to host a game there. Plus, the resources to host an NFL game, a playoff game, like when you've got security people and first responders, they got better things to do.
Okay, logistics
More
though.
important.
I'm a St. Louis Ram ticket holder.
They're
No,
LA
they're
Rams.
LA Rams.
What did I say?
You said St. Louis.
Wow. Well, they are still for me, St. Louis.
No, they're not.
I have a ticket, so all those are going to be honored. I have to fly to Phoenix in order to
They'll
go to
make
that game.
accommodations. It'll be the same thing when
They'll figure it
the
out.
Vikings had to move their game to Detroit.
The official reason given by the NFL is for matters of public safety. I find that entirely understandable. And you're right. The optics would look terrible with a bunch of 65,000 people in there screaming and cheering.
Right.
Plus, they might not have gotten 65,000 people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how many people would. I mean, think of how many people would have been displaced.
And then you could look at it this way as well. It might benefit the Vikings to be playing on a neutral field, not to mention that you've got many Minnesotans who are snowbirds in the Phoenix area.
Yep.
So there you have it. So Monday night, the Vikings and Rams play.
She might be a home game, basically, for the purple.
Speaking of that, I was going to ask you, because you tend to know these things. Is there any way the Vikings will have a home game in these playoffs?
Yes.
What would have to happen?
They have to be
They have to beat the Rams.
the higher
obviously.
seed in a matchup. The way that could happen is if Johnny's Packers beat the Eagles,
Yep.
and I think it might. And then Washington takes out Tampa. The Vikings would play Washington at home next week.
All right. I think both of those are very strong probabilities.
Could be.
Washington's got a nice club.
And the Pack is up for the task. I'm going to get behind them this week.
Okay.
I want to go
Okay,
back.
Red.
I want to go back to the L.A. fires because I guess really nothing fascinates me as much as the mystery and learning about it and coming to grips with it and understanding it. I'm amused at some of the big names in podcasting and broadcasting. I'm talking the $25 million a year guys.
Yeah.
They keep saying their criticism is pretty much linked to the idea that the mayor, Karen Bass, should not have been in Ghana during this catastrophic fire.
Okay.
That's not the point. That's what modern mayors do. They go to Ghana. That could almost become a saying. Why did you have crime in your city? Well, Fry went to Ghana. Her being in Ghana had nothing to do with it. The problem is that she never devoted probably 30 seconds of her mayoral life to preparing for a fire. And it's that system. I came up with a new definition of the mystery. Because the mystery, which is basically, Mysterians don't like people. Remember that.
Right.
They only like people who agree with them and share their aspirational goals for how they view the world. So the mystery keeps evolving. It keeps getting sanded smoother and smoother till it's really, really visible. Let's see if I got this one. The mystery is the abandonment of foundational truth replaced by the aspirational vision of what Mysterians think life should be. They think LGBTQ people should be a fire chief, when a foundational truth is that's fine so long as the LGBTQ fire chief is devoted to fire preparedness. But in the aspirational view of the world, it's enough to just be the LGBTQ fire chief. That was the achievement. The foundational truth goes ignored. which is a deadly fire. Or it's a foundational truth that a mayor should be focused only on the necessities that serve the citizens. The aspiration is the mayor should be a communist community activist. I mentioned communist because if you continue to read about Karen Bass, you discover her allegiance to a group that went to Cuba 20 times, and she's really fond of the way they operate in Cuba. Well, the way they operate in Cuba is also indicative of how you would not put out a fire. So what the mayor, she went to Ghana. That isn't, who cares? What she didn't do was sit down on day 1 or 2 and convene a meeting with the Los Angeles Water Department, the best hydrologists academia could produce, the best electrical engineers and mechanical engineers that academia or private industry could produce, and say to them, we all know that LA can turn to dust one of these days with a hellacious fire. And we've got a problem because we can get water from a reservoir to secondary pumps. This is all assuming the mayor would even know this much. We can always get water from the reservoir to secondary pumps, but under intense, maxed out pressurization, that water is not succeeding. It's not getting to the hydrants, and when it does, it's running out too quickly. What do we have to do in the event of a catastrophic fire, which Los Angeles has the basin has a 10,000 or a million-year history with fires? Everybody's too quick to put this in the climate change basket. You can look it up. I went through it with you the other day. So she's saying, we have a history with fires. What are we going to do to improve and make real what I just asked you? And they come back and say, well, we can do this and this and this, and it's $45 million. And she'll say, great. I was going to request a $45 million budget decrease in the fire department so we could spend the money elsewhere, but I won't. You get the $45 million, and thus a foundational truth of the lives of citizens in L.A. has been accommodated, not the aspirational vision of a Mysterian. Now, I have audio. We have audio.
Do you think she's been to Cuba more times than Walls has been to China? Or is it basically the same?
It could be a tie.
Okay.
All right, where's the piece I had? I have a piece that I wanted to reference. It's right here.
What are the purposes of her visits? I have not read this about her.
Oh, she's a lifelong community activist, and her, activists don't do anything except go in junkets and try to bring about aspirational visions.
So you could call it a working trip, not
Probably.
laying on the beach.
Well, and it was before she was mayor, I think. I mean, she's had a long life of politics. Are you finding it, John?
I am. She actually was a member of something, and I've lost the name of it here, but it was a group in the 70s who was, here we go. It's the Venceramos Brigade, a pro-Cuban group that organized trips by Americans to Cuba. Then I went to the Venceramos Brigade's definition or whatever explanation of what they are, and they were an extremely pro-Castro group.
Right.
Who were inspired by his speeches.
Go ahead, John.
She's been a member or an organizer for that group since the mid-1970s.
Yeah.
So.
And what does Cuba have? Well, they've got pretty bad fire repression. They don't have any food. They don't have any medicine. They don't have any transportation. They don't have any communication. And this is what she's in favor of. So does it surprise anybody? Do you really? Let me pause, but I'm not losing track of my thought process of a video for you. Do you think this will open eyes, not only in L.A. but around the country for the way people vote?
If you take the poll of the people on the street, I think so. Yeah.
She has no business being the mayor of an American city.
You saw the video of Newsom getting confronted by a resident, right?
I saw that, and it was appalling.
Yeah.
It was Newsom.
Well, he lied to her.
Well, he claimed he was trying to. Are you aware of what we're talking about, gang? There's a
I saw
video
it, yep.
of Newsom in the midst of the smoke, and he's approached by a mom who said, "Look across the street, Governor. That's my kid's school. It's burned down. My kids don't have a school to go to. What are you going to do about this?" And Newsom said, "Well, right now I'm trying to reach the president."
No. I'm on the phone with the president.
I thought
Oh,
he
I
said
did
he
see
couldn't.
that.
I thought he said he couldn't get a signal.
Yeah, they couldn't
So-
get through, he said.
Okay, sorry.
He wasn't on the phone with the president. He told her, "I'm trying to reach the president right now. You'll have resources. You'll have resources." And this woman, God bless her, she said, "Well, I want to see you talk to him. I want to hear it. Can you get him on the line right now? I want to hear you talk to the president." And he said, "Well, I that might be terribly believable. He couldn't get a signal. The cell towers probably melted." And then he finally just got in his car and left, or his limousine and left. He had nothing to say, just like Karen Bass had nothing to say when she hastily returned from Ghana, realizing the trouble she was in. She hastily returned from Ghana and had nothing to say because suddenly she's taken out of the third rail life. She's taken out of the life of pursuing only aspirational BS and is faced with this reality that absolutely dumbfounded her. She had nothing useful to say. Back to the audio. The assistant fire chief in
Christine Larson.
in L.A. is Christine Larson. I believe she's African American. I think that's germane. For sure, she's a lesbian. I think that's germane. But I did some reading about her. She was a really skilled college athlete, so I'm surprised she has some of the comments you're about to hear. In other words, I thought she would be fit, but perhaps not. She has become, I don't know what she looked like as a 20-year-old, but she's a very, let me be very polite. She's a stout woman.
Got it.
Very stout.
Got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Now this has nothing to do with the fires. This was something captured with her on a previous interview.
It was a promotional video basically highlighting the different ways that the Los Angeles Fire Department was embracing DEI.
But this is true. This is real. It's been verified. It's going viral. It's been shown millions and millions of times, which is why I'm wondering, is what's going to arise from LA a change in the way people vote? Listen to this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
He got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That means
She blaming the victim?
Yes. That means she sure as hell wasn't going to go into a fire and look for a guy and carry him out. He got himself in the wrong place. And as far as someone looking like you when you're asking for help, I don't give a bleep
Right.
what you look
I just
like.
want the best candidate.
I don't care what you look like.
Yep.
You got a defibrillator with you?
Let's
go here. I don't care what you are. This is astounding. This country, if it's choosing to pay attention, is really getting a look at the exposed mystery.
How effed are we?
It's really getting a strong look at it. Now, unfortunately, the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, because of our acquiescence and apathy, the American electorate has voted into office the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings.
These very candidates.
Mysterians,
Yeah.
professional activists. And in each case, in each city, you could find the abandonment of foundational truth having been replaced with aspirational BS. For example, St. Paul doesn't have, just like in LA, doesn't have to start with Karen Bass. It could have started several mayors ago when they convened this meeting of experts to remedy their fire preparedness. Could have started a long time ago. But the mystery's been with us now long enough that we've had a couple of Mysterian mayors, from whence the saying comes, each succeeding mayor is worse than the outgoing one.
Yes.
Well, and that's bearing true. Now, in St. Paul, it didn't have to start with Melvin Carter. Downtown has been losing businesses. Vacancy rates are extraordinary. Crime has been treated aspirationally. Crooks and thugs and carjackers, if they're even arrested at all, are back on the street in 8 hours. Light rail platforms are dystopian and somewhat dangerous. The downtown area is hollowed out. The foundational truth for the citizen would be what they're paying for is safety. They're paying for what they're now paying for is additional property tax burdens because the commercial property tax has disappeared. Where were the agents of St. Paul, for example, spotting this 15 years ago and getting ahead of it? Because that's a foundational truth. They weren't thinking about it.
No.
Where were the agents of St. Paul to go to the state capitol? Where were St. Paul's legislative representatives to say to the convening body at the state capitol, you morons, we don't need $1 billion new office building. Right. You can walk 6 blocks and take your pick of beautiful offices in buildings that are going begging to be rented. We didn't do that because that's not how they think. They're not thinking about the citizen. They don't. What have we said about the third rail? They don't care about us. They only care about pursuing their aspirational vision of what they think life should be like. And you're seeing the ruination of it in L.A. Lives lost, homes lost.
I completely agree with everything you're saying about DEI and Christine Larson, but with the historic nature of the wins, how much of this would have been preventable?
Okay, let's pause right there. That's the question I've been dying to ask you and all of the commenters from California. If every single dollar had been spent and every measure taken and they were fully, absolutely prepared for anything, would they have been able to stop this?
I would have imagined that if you convened the world's best hydrologists, the world's best engineers from a variety of fields, you would... Look, Musk parallel parked a rocket that returned from space. The best minds in the country could have figured out a way to I believe this, could have figured out a way to handle fires even in the Santa Ana winds. The Santa Ana winds have been part of the Los Angeles landscape since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And they would have come up with something. But this wasn't what they ever thought about. They weren't thinking about that.
And that's their one job, how to protect the city.
And now the citizens, many of whom voted for the likes of Karen Bass, probably because they think it's virtuous to applaud some of these why shouldn't a lesbian be the fire chief? Well, you're right. There's no reason in the world why a lesbian shouldn't be the fire chief.
But as Hans points out...
But I want her to go in and rescue me. I don't want her to say that I'm not being rescued because I put myself in the wrong place in the house.
As Hans said, you mean my own house?
Yeah.
I put myself here?
Yeah.
Have we discussed, and are you at all interested in how these fires started? I've been hearing that the Kenneth fire might have been intentional arson. And I'm wondering what the motivation is behind, I guess you can just speak generally, what the motivation is behind setting fires like this. Why would somebody do that? Is there a bigger thing? Am I reading too much of a conspiracy into it? Or is it just crazy being crazy?
The only thing I've ever seen regarding how it started was it started in someone's back garden. That's all I know. As I said yesterday, I don't know if they... maybe had a solo stove fire the night before, and the wind kicked up and blew an ember out of it, and the next thing you know, the vegetation is on fire. I don't know how it started. Unfortunately, what's happening now is apparently the reports of gangs starting fires, hoping for evacuation notices in a particular neighborhood where they start a fire, then they go in and loot those houses.
Yeah. My brother and sister-in-law were alerted yesterday to pack up their belongings because you're about to be evacuated. And this is for the Kenneth fire. And then the winds changed, or the winds calmed down, or something happened, and they were told to stand down and stay in their home. And their power got turned on again.
But I don't think it's hyperbole to say that a principal foundational truth of life, fires hit L.A., has been ignored to the point where you seek destruction that makes it hard to believe what you're looking at. I've never seen such devastation. Now, the Paradise Fire, the Sourdough Slim Fire, there was major devastation there, but not to the square footage extent of this. This is, as far as the eye can see, it's every single house on every single block of the Palisades is gone. Everything. I don't know how they're going to rebuild. I don't know if they will. Where was I? I know. Even as good as Precision Door is, Precision Garage Door MN, you can't call them if you're in the Pacific Palisades.
No, they're not going to be able to help you.
It's not going to help you.
Because the garage is gone. The door is gone. That's a bad way to start a commercial.
Yeah, well, they'll bring you a new door, a fresh new life.
Here they will.
Yeah.
Here they will. Precision Door serves western Wisconsin, the entire metro area. Don't charge more for weekend visits. Give you a new door if you need. Well, they won't give it to you. They'll sell you a new door if you need one. They've become the favorite of. I'm giving doors away. Christ, Kenny was giving away Seafoam. I might as well give away a garage door. Put this number in your telephone contacts. They're the best garage door guy you're going to find, and you need a garage door guy. Precision Door, 612-263-6985. Or you can go online and book a new door appointment. The consultations are free. They have models for every budget. Or just book a regular service appointment. Precision Door MN, one word, precisiondoormn.com.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
I'm going to try a Joe Souchere transition into an ad. If you're in the need for a lot of water,
Oh, and it's on fire.
call my friends at Hofferman Water in Connecticut. I had to.
Okay.
Well, you didn't have to, but you
That was very mean of me, wasn't it?
It was.
I'm sorry. Hofferman Water and Connecticut. I started out as a customer of both Hofferman Water and Connecticut years ago, and I'm really glad that I did because it's made an amazing difference in the quality of my water. Our relationship's been so great. I've had them in 2 different homes. And here's the deal. You've got to have them come out and get that free water analysis. And with that free water analysis, you're going to get a water score showing you just how hard your water might be in your area. And you do that by either calling 612-895-2440, or you can visit their website, which is hoffermanwater.com. Either way, you can book that appointment. And if you go to that website, you can also see every single water treatment system that they have to offer. It doesn't matter if you're in the market for a brand new water softener, maybe an iron, rust, and odor filtration system, or a brand new drinking water system. Connecticut and Hofferman can do so many things that other water softeners just simply cannot do. It's going to cut down on your salt usage, but it's also going to protect your appliances. And that's because bad water can affect almost every single aspect of your home. So protect your largest investment and get in touch with my friends at Hofferman Water today. 612-895-2440 or hoffermanwater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
This extends to the legislature. Do you think that, I'll use Lee Finke, who was kind enough to come in about a month ago. Do you think Lee Finke is at the state capitol to protect and be concerned about the foundational truths of what the citizens need in the state of Minnesota? My answer would be no. She's there to continue to perform social experiments with your money.
I would agree.
It's what would be analogous in the metropolitan area to a complete breakdown of foundational truth like you're seeing in L.A.? I can't come up with one.
The post-George Floyd riots where all of Lake Street burned from the river over to Portland Avenue. Or, no, actually, over to Nicollet Avenue.
That's a good one.
That's probably the best analogy you're going to get.
I mean, my temptation was to race to blizzards, but we handle blizzards pretty well.
I've been thinking about that for days, and the only analogy, and it doesn't fit here, is the amount of money that we save up to plow the snow. We always talk about the plowing budget, but I don't think that's a good analogy.
No.
Speaking of that, what happens to that budget? We've been snowed out.
I can tell you what happens to it. It's really one of the weird accounting tricks of public life. Apparently, they need a whole new pile next year. So if they don't spend it all, I guess it gets spent somehow, and then next year they still need a whole new pile of plowing.
So it's use it or lose it.
Maybe it's used on social experiments. Wow. The Department of Transportation has a DEI position. But I think our guys in the plow trucks, city and state, they do a good job. So it's not plowing. I guess that was a good look at it. It didn't physically destroy nearly as much square footage as L.A., but it certainly was allowed to happen. It certainly was met with confusion by supposed political leaders who appeared to not know what to do faced with that hard reality.
And it motivated other cities to, how do I say, that they experienced the same thing. Portland, there's a lot of different cities around that they saw what was happening in Minneapolis. And
well, what the citizens need and what the citizens pay for is safety. And a foundational truth of life in America is that you expect safety. You expect law and order. And law and order in that case was completely abandoned. It was abandoned. The cops didn't abandon anything.
Right.
They sat in there and tried to do what they can do. But the governor, the mayors, they abandoned the truth of law and order, and it was replaced with the aspirational belief that possibly these rioters are merely victims of an unfair and oppressive, systemic, white patriarchal society. There's your mystery. And in that summation of the mystery, you can see their dislike for people, at least certain people. They just don't like them. They don't want to deal with them. I told you the way St. Thomas neighbors could have prevented a hockey rink Not that I think they should have or whatever. I have no horse in that race, but they could have gone over there and found an endangered worm,
A beetle,
and
yeah.
Mysterians would have rushed into work because they would favor the worm over the people anyway. I don't think we can come up with anything in Minnesota except maybe the George Floyd episode. There's nothing you can do to prepare for a tornado. There's nothing you can do to prepare. Well, we do prepare for blizzards. We've got plow trucks. Hell, we got so many plow trucks, we name them.
That's true.
We have naming contests.
It's so
for 'em.
embarrassing.
Snowy McSnowy.
No, it was Plowy McPlowface, wasn't it?
Yes.
Plowy McPlowface. Well, that's good. We got them. Let's give names to inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the background on Christine Larson. She's a 33-year veteran of the fire department. And prior to joining the fire department, she earned a bachelor's degree in sociology from UCLA. And she was a 3-time All-American as a track and field athlete. Now, I'm sorry, Christine. You should be able to carry somebody out of a fire. You were a 3-time
Not shame them for being
All-American. Holy mackerel! She went on to graduate summa cum laude from Capella University with a master's degree in public service leadership. Okay, well that you can't flunk that. With an emphasis in emergency management, she has completed a DEI certification program through Cornell University, because the failed academy is very much a part of this ruination of foundational truth. She completed a DEI certification program through Cornell and is participating in the International Association of Fire Chiefs Diversity Executive Leadership Program.
Wow.
Okay. What about improving fire hydrant behavior under intense pressurization standards or demands?
That would be
right. And that group claims to advance DEI within the fire service. All right. Christine has held various ranks with the LAFD, consisting of fire inspector, and subsequently was the first African-American woman to be promoted to the rank of Captain 1, Captain 2, Battalion Chief, Assistant Chief, and Deputy Chief. It's always important to be the first. That's part of the abandonment process. Mm-hmm. The old process was meritocracy. You became the mayor because of your merit, and or you became the fire chief. Now, I suppose the argument could be made, if you go back far enough, there were far more superior blacks who could have been a fire chief than a white guy. I'm not talking about that era. Mm-hmm. I mean, this country has its problems,
right?
Or had them. We've done more than any other country to try and do something about it.
But you can't make...
And I guess what we're trying to do about it is DEI, which doesn't work.
We're trying to make up for it. You can't make up for it. What's done is done. Now just do the right thing.
Christine has worked in both field and special duty assignments. As a captain, she was both a drill instructor and a drill master at the fire academy. As a chief officer, she has worked in the firefighter recruitment section, the Fire Prevention Bureau, and the Equity and Human Resources Bureau. Christine also serves the community as past president of the Los Angeles Women in the Fire Service and is vice president of the board of directors for Camp Blaze, a fire camp for young women held in Washington State. Now, what do you think they do with those fire camps?
Practice aiming the fire hoses, making sure the pressure's not too much. Have some lunch, have a sandwich.
Okay, you're done. What does anybody else think they do at the fire camps?
Aim. Yes. Fire.
Aim the hose.
I'm actually looking at Camp Blaze's website, so I can tell you.
Well, I'll tell you.
Can I seriously take a stab at it? Because I have a buddy that's in the fire department. Wouldn't it just be simply endurance training with every bit that's required?
Oh, you naive soul.
Okay.
Kenny, what did you do when you went to Camp Blaze?
Brought a lot of papers.
Okay.
Chris is also very involved in girls' fire camps up and down the West Coast, which provide leadership, team building, and empowerment to young women in high school. The 2-day camps are important ways to teach young women that their lives are limitless. They can overcome their fears and be whatever they want in life. These camps inspire young women as well as serve as a way for the volunteers to meet other women firefighters to grow their own networks to assist with professional development. In other words, they're indoctrination camps. They're utter BS. John, what did you find?
Well, I kind of got the opposite about Camp Blaze. Fire behavior instruction, live fire training, vehicle extraction, application of portable fire extinguishers, hose handling, ladders, including aerial ladder climbing, and more.
Okay.
Anybody think about AIM?
Okay, then why in her up-to-date biographical information does Chris only center on the aspirational aspects of it?
That actually is mentioned on the same cover page, but I mean, there's no, you don't know. You'd have to ask her.
Yeah, because she didn't go in at all to actually talking about fire prevention.
Yeah, and all the videos are of people being trained with how to use hoses, etc.
Well, good.
That kind
Great.
of stuff.
Well, it's interesting that she decided to focus on that
Yep.
as her point of, I don't know, pride.
Yeah, I guess.
Because the training, I think it's among the most rigorous of all our public servants is the fire.
Yeah.
Well, I've told you this story 1,000 times. I'm going to tell it again.
One more time.
I wish I remembered her name, and God bless her wherever she is. 30 years ago, if not longer, St. Paul was busy recruiting female firefighters.
I remember.
And what I took issue with is if I'm remembering the dynamics of all this correctly, I think the test, am I on the right track? I think the tests they took might not have been the same as the tests men took.
Correct.
And so, of course, I took umbrage with that and wrote about it many, many times and received angry communication from one particular firefighter who basically was saying to me, "Go bleep yourself. I can do whatever a man does, and that's cool." And cut to the Winter Carnival of about 1990. When was the Super Bowl here? 1992?
It was January of 92.
In January of 92, the St. Paul Winter Carnival built a magnificent ice palace down on Harriet Island.
Yep.
And it really garnered the big crowds. Crowds marched across the Wabasha Street Bridge on opening night of lighting the torches and everything. It was still a real city at that point.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm on a float, probably a Pioneer Press float, and this woman comes up to the float and grabs me and says, I think her name was Dawn, and I'm so-and-so, and oh, hi, and she then put me over her shoulder and started running around to prove that she was...
I can be a fireman.
Yeah, it was great. She was cool. That was wonderful, and she was right. She sure as hell showed me. So I'm not... For all of you people in Liberal Lakes who are reading with your mouth open and Euphoria and Diversityville, I think women can be firefighters, and I think women can be assistant fire chiefs, and I think women can be mayors, and I think women can do anything they want if they're going to address the foundational truths of what you're being paid for, which is to address the needs of the citizens and not advance your own whimsical view of the mystery.
There it is. Well, there it is.
Why do you keep wanting me to take a break?
Because that's what the show's scheduled.
We got sponsors.
That's what he does. He's Mr. Buzzkill.
I mean, it's time.
Saturdays are great, fun days at EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake / Columbus, right on Highway 97, west of Interstate 35. Great sale on now on Yamaha generators. Maybe we're all entering the period of American life. Well, where we'll rue the day if we don't have a generator. These are incredible sale prices. $13.99 four-stroke Yamaha generators on sale for $7.99 with a 3-year Yamaha warranty. Quiet, fuel efficient. EcoFund's the electric bike capital of the world, the youth recreational equipment capital of the world, motorcycles, snowmobiles, scooters. Honest to God, it's a fun store. Also, there's an EcoFund on the service road of life near County Road 42 in Burnsville, and a great website. You know, there's not that much snow on the ground. You could still test drive an electric bike tomorrow, for example. They got the great parking lot. EcoFundMotorsports.com.
I got things to do.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Well, I have bad news for you Seafoam lovers. There isn't a Seafoam product for batteries.
Batteries.
Batteries, like I said. Yeah, that's what I said, batteries. If there was, I, for one, would have gallons of it for the plow truck. It doesn't get used enough to keep the battery charged. Thankfully, there is a Seafoam product called the motor treatment, which I'm blaming Seafoam for that plow truck snapping to life instantly yesterday with a very sad so-so battery. Seafoam works great for our fossil fuel fired cylinders. It helps that engine run better. It helps it last longer, prevents poor engine performance. It prevents all the common engine problems, cleans, lubricates, does all of that, and it preserves ignition vapors. And yes, Seafoam motor treatment, safe for everything that's fossil fuel fired. Say it with me, fossil fuel fired.
Rubber
Fossil
bumper baby
fuel
buggies.
fired.
And it's really easy to find. Your Knack hardware store, Frats, auto parts store. Every single auto parts store in the nation should have Seafoam on hand. You can find it at the Fleet Farm, at the Save Big Money at Menards. I bet Home Depot even has Seafoam. And if you can't find it there, or you're just not interested in going out in public, I get that. Go to seafoamworks.com, order it in. A wonderful product in a world of bad gas, Seafoam.
Do Yamaha snowmobiles have batteries?
Yeah, all the four-stroke. You know what? Everything's electric start these days. They all have batteries.
I think you were being fished there, Kenny. You wanted to say Yamaha and batteries in the same sentence.
Yeah.
Here's John Height.
I know what his motivation is.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. This news is brought to you by North American Banking Company. One sports note that we already mentioned, but I will reiterate: Vikings-Rams playoff game moved to Arizona due to California wildfires. The upcoming playoff game between the Minnesota Vikings and LA Rams on Monday night has been moved due to the fires. The game, originally scheduled to be played at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, now will happen at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The game will be Monday, 7 o'clock on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus. Tickets went on sale at 10 o'clock this morning. I know we were talking about maybe taking away a home field advantage from LA, but I know a young man who, when he lived in Los Angeles, had a girlfriend in that area, and he had no problems driving from LA to that area every weekend. So just so you know.
What, the Phoenix area?
Well,
yeah. Yes.
It's not bad.
Undefeated.
It's a hike, but not bad.
He didn't carry her over his back, right?
Tell me about the stadium, Reeves. Is that covered?
It is. In fact, it's kind of neat. You know, that's the stadium.
Is that the one where they bring in the grass?
They bring the grass outside so that it can get sunlight.
Is he qualified to talk about stadiums, remember?
Even though it's a dome, it has natural grass.
Are there any windows in it? I just don't like the Superdome in New Orleans. I can't stand it.
Okay.
How the heck do you bring grass outside?
It's on a big tray.
It's in a big drawer, like a big utility drawer.
Yeah, it's like pulling out a drawer.
Yeah.
Wow.
That big middle one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Huh. In news, 3 juvenile boys were arrested yesterday in connection with that assault. I think we talked about this off air, not on air. It was an assault at the Edina YMCA on December 20th that left a 16-year-old boy with a brain injury. A post on X from the Edina Police and Fire Department says a 17 and 16-year-old boy were arrested for felony third-degree riot and felony third-degree assault. A 14-year-old boy also arrested in connection to the assault. Another 16-year-old boy arrested on Wednesday and charged with felony third-degree riot and felony third-degree assault. All 4 boys brought to the Hennepin County Juvenile Detention Center after their arrests. The victim was 16-year-old Elroy Begin. He suffered a brain injury, memory loss, and was still struggling to eat nearly a week after the assault. According to a search warrant that was unsealed in late December, police responded just after 6 in the evening, December 20th, to a report of a large group of juvenile Somalian males fighting in the gymnasium. Investigators determined that someone let in about 13 males at a back door of the YMCA just before they attacked Bayin. The group ran off before officers arrived. Star Tribune reporting Macy's is closing its Maplewood Mall and Burnsville Center locations as the department store works to reverse a decline in business. The retailer, which has seen falling sales at a time when consumers are spending less on discretionary purchases like apparel, announced Thursday it would be closing 66 underperforming stores as part of the company's repositioning. Last year, Macy's announced it would shutter 150 stores as its leaders work to strengthen its brand.
Is Macy's what's left of Dayton's?
Yeah, it's not even.
Right.
Don't say them in the same sentence.
All right.
Is that where you had to return your shoes?
No, I asked her do you ever shop at Macy's? Because we passed it, and she doesn't. So
It's
Wait
going
a
downhill
minute.
a long way.
You both went shopping together?
Did you hold hands?
Were you wearing matching outfits?
John, continue.
Did you pinch her on the butt?
What did you smell at the mall? What did it smell like when you walked in there?
An alien universe.
Okay, thank you.
Does she call you hubby when you're out in public? Hubby.
Father.
I'm having a hard time
I'm trying,
picturing them strolling along in the what is it? The main rotunda, and which leg do they go? What he's looking at, what catches his eye?
I had to exchange some shoes.
And is she barking at him, keep up, or
Yes.
where are you going, or is he doing that to her?
Is he just kind of lumbering along?
Did at one point she say, next time I'm going to leave you in the car?
At one point, she fancied some butter brickle. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Butter brickle ice cream.
Okay.
Don't tell me you shut that down.
No, Kenny, I did not.
Okay, good.
Did you have any popcorn?
What do you think? One scoop of butter brickle ice cream in a paper cup.
$7.99.
You? Anyone else?
I bet it's.
I'll go
I was going to
$5.
say $6.99.
No, I was going to say 10.
Yeah. John?
5.
I guess rookie'd be the closest.
Thank you.
$6.44.
Yeah.
I
It's
went
her
over
money.
that.
I didn't
If
care.
we're doing prices right,
I wasn't
I
gonna
did go
buy it.
over.
It was her
I'm not
money.
buying it. She's independently wealthy.
Right.
That's right.
What
I
if-
forgot about that.
Yeah, that's right.
I see Joe, and maybe it's because, the only time I really spent walking around was at the fair. I see him walking around the mall with his hands in his pocket and a toothpick in his mouth, just
Kind
looking
of shuffling
down.
along,
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
hey.
trying to avoid eye contact
I
with
found
people.
myself being terribly intrigued by these kiosks where
Well, they might have sunglasses or hair clips
yeah,
or
and
small drones.
and they were
Flashlights.
manned by people invariably just looking at their phone.
Disinterested
Yeah,
in
yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
Hey, would you like to buy a rubber ball?
Yeah.
They're just, they're,
Are you saying they might have just been mailing it in?
yeah.
Yeah, I
They
just
pulled the Datron.
and then for some reason, because of where we had gotten ourselves to in the place, she took us back through the. There's a ride area.
Nickelodeon Universe.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Camp
thought
Snoopy.
that was the sixth ring of hell.
Oh, what'd you go on?
I didn't go on any rides.
Did they have a tilt-a-whirl?
I don't know. Just
I
what
don't
a
know.
dreadful place.
The young men in my home wanted to go there over the Christmas break,
yeah.
and I looked at her and I said, "I will write a check for any amount of money.
Right.
I am not
Well,
going."
I don't blame you.
For the record, and if anybody in our sales department is listening, I'm available.
Yeah, good
I
luck to you.
love the Mall of America
You've
and
never
all the
even
shops.
From 3
been there.
hours away, Kenny
You've
loves
never
it.
even been there.
When I go to the Twin Cities, my first stop is always the Mall of America, America's Mall.
When I was at the music station, the Hubbard Music Station, many, many years ago, we did something there for a whole day.
Yeah.
And me and the fella I worked with had to ride the roller coaster. I think it was probably Camp Snoopy then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We had
Yeah.
to ride the roller coaster
Yeah.
continuously for 3-4 hours. We're just on the roller coaster going around the Mall
wow.
of America.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun, John. I would love, you know what? I'm going to do that the next time I go to America's Mall, the Mall of America.
Is that guy
All
still
right,
in radio?
I just saw it. I
no.
once sat in a
he's
press
not.
box here and looked out over a bucolic
Did you go see
outdoor
the
baseball
Did you go
field.
see the plate?
Where is the place?
It's at the Nickelodeon
Camp
Universe.
Snoopy?
America.
Yeah.
I
What
did
about
not see
Harmon
the plate.
Killebrew's
Harmon
seat?
Killer's seat is up on the...
It's up on the wall, isn't
yeah.
it? By where the movie theater
Oh,
used to be.
really?
You know
Yeah.
what you missed out on? You missed making a wax hand. There's a shop out there.
I did
Really?
see at the where the Vikings play, U.S. Bank. I did see the Metrodome home plate.
Oh yeah. Yep.
These are all fun things to do for you and your family at the Mall of America.
All right.
good.
Thanks for that spot there, Kenny. Let's move along in the news here.
The guy's actually trolling for
I
a
know he is.
client.
Yes, yeah. A problem for some CenturyLink customers in the Twin Cities, folks with landlines are seeing outages. Minnesota Public Utilities Commission says it received 75 CenturyLink outage complaints just in December alone. CenturyLink blames the outages on multiple cases of copper theft. The Public Utilities Commission says there's another problem. In recent years, CenturyLink has cut its field crews workforce in half. Minnesota State Senator Mark Corrin, a Republican from North Branch, says he's been in talks with CenturyLink to find some alternative solutions. Corrin says the copper wire system for carriers is now about 100 years old. He says CenturyLink needs to think about new alternatives, including Wi-Fi, a cell phone distribution plan, or broadband expansion. In case you're wondering, yes, there are still a lot of landlines in Minnesota, about 250,000, 233,000. That's 21% of the state's traditional phone service, according to the PUC. About a third of Minnesota households still subscribe to landline service, although as of about 2020, there were only about 5% of Minnesota households that relied on landlines exclusively.
Jimmy Carter was a holdout.
She worked on this ice cream till we got to the car and then lifted her tailgate and put the ice cream in the back and then closed the tailgate. And I said, what are you doing? Well, it stays colder back there, and then finished it at home. But I thought that was a tremendously GL thing to do, and she is the opposite of a GLer. Not even
maybe there's a little bit of help.
Close to a
maybe
GL.
There's a little. This is a leap of faith.
But that's
here.
a GL thing, man.
Wouldn't you be worried about it spilling?
It was a little cup. It wasn't going to spill.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, don't worry
And that
about
all
that.
happened. That all happened
Where
in
was
the spacious and well-lit Mall of America parking lot, only at the Mall of America.
Kenny, I would like to buy ad time from you, right?
Yeah, I
Just
know,
because of
really. National and international headlines. Somebody just made a funny body noise. President-elect Donald Trump was formally sentenced today in his hush money case, but the judge didn't impose any punishment. The outcome cements Trump's conviction while freeing him to return to the White House unencumbered by the threat of a jail term or a fine. Trump can still vote after sentencing, but he can't own a gun, and he'll have to turn over a DNA sample. The president-elect doesn't have to go to jail, pay a fine, or perform community service as a result of the New York hush money conviction. A judge ended the case with the sentence of an unconditional discharge. Unless the conviction for falsifying business records is someday overturned, the president-elect will have felonies on his criminal record, which will affect some of his rights. He is registered to vote in Florida. He'll be able to vote there. Florida does bar people convicted of felonies from voting, but restores their right to vote after they've finished their sentence. Under federal law, people convicted of felonies are not allowed to possess firearms. By law, every person convicted of a felony in New York must provide a DNA sample for the state's crime data bank.
How great will it be if Biden pardons Trump?
I personally think he should. But I think it would do a great deal of calming.
But would that be another middle finger to the people
Harris?
that turned on Biden?
Hold on. Did you see the good he did do? He blocked a guilty plea by one of the accused 9/11 leaders because, and help me out, John, so I get this right, if he would have pled guilty, that would have meant it would have spared him from execution.
That is correct. This story, though, I don't know, Kenny, if you remember, maybe a year or two ago, it was the Biden administration had agreed on that plea agreement. And within days, Lloyd Austin, who's the, Secretary of Defense?
Yeah.
He said, no, well, we're not agreeing to that because.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's been an ongoing thing with the Sheikh. Sheikh, I don't remember his last name.
Yeah.
But,
I just found it interesting that they absolutely buried it in the back of the paper, and that seems like a pretty big deal.
it was actually buried. I read 3 different papers today, Wall Street Journal, the Bismarck one, and the Star Tribune here, and it was buried in all of them like that.
Huh.
Just a little worded thing in all the
It
papers.
was asking way too much of my guy to get a paper there today. He had a lot of terrible,
dusting of snow.
A couple, 2, 3
blizzards.
snow.
You are going to be screwed Tuesday morning with a late Vikings playoff game.
Well, the Star Tribune will never have the score.
No, I just meant, isn't your guy usually notoriously late?
Yeah, but I think I can get the score, Chris.
It's a shame that you can't get just a replica of the newspaper online or something.
I read it today online.
Oh, wow.
Did the replica? Did you get the e-edition now? Did you get the e-edition?
Reavers arranged for us to get the Star Tribune e-edition.
Actually, let's give her
boy.
credit. Our gal Kate is the one that really mastered.
Kate.
There was already one available. The one I've been using for years.
Kate.
Wait a minute. I'm paying for mine.
Hey, John, I have a question for you.
be.
You mentioned the three paper. Let's all take a guess. What was the lead story in the Bismarck paper this morning?
The Bismarck.
Well, I
Let me
suppose
guess.
it was the fires, I suppose.
No.
But
I bet it was Carter.
I don't know. Do you want me to look? Take 2 seconds if you
Yeah.
really want me to take
Check
it.
out
Gary over on 4th Street got a new shirt.
No, the old rag, will
Bismarck
ya?
isn't that bad.
I bet it was Carter.
It's the capital city. I mean,
It's
any
something to
political
do with
news
turnip processing, I bet, because that's a big deal in the winter in North Dakota.
You
processing
guys-
turnips. No, I'm being absolutely serious.
Here
It
you
is
go.
a
You
big
ready?
deal.
Carter.
All right. Here you go. Bismarck Tribune. What's underneath the Bismarck
Masthead.
masthead? Underneath the masthead is former Lieutenant Governor Sanford will be interim BSC leader. That's because the Bismarck State College guy just resigned the leader. Then when you go down, it is Carter praised prior to being laid
Look
to rest.
at you, Mr. Newspaper
Yeah.
over there.
And then
Well,
the community
I mean, come
announcement that
on.
the date has arrived by which everyone must wear their galoshes.
And
You know-
before you put them
Yeah.
on, you have to put your feet into old bread bags to
Yep.
keep your feet dry.
Wonder Bread
Wonder
was
Bread.
the best.
Yeah, I did that.
Yep.
No red flags in probe of auditor's office is right underneath that.
Oh, that's
See?
good.
It's big stuff.
What a weird thing to do, though. Make your kids put your feet in bread bag. It
My
never
mom
worked. It
never
didn't
made
work.
us do that.
Never did that either.
We did it all the time.
It made my feet sweat, so
Yes.
I'd get really, really cold.
Yes.
The best boots I ever had, they weighed about 10 pounds apiece.
Okay.
And for some reason, they were my dad's. I inherited somehow. They're now gone. I don't know where they went. But they were called Korean war boots. And they were rubber. And you couldn't get wet and you could not get
Were
cold.
they black or were they white? Were they
Black.
bunny?
Black.
Okay, so those are Army issued. I have
It
a
must
pair
have
of
been.
those.
And
Yeah.
they were extraordinary. You could not get cold.
Tremendous.
You couldn't walk because
Right.
it was like wearing cement
You're
shoes.
like little
Right,
Ralphie.
that's why they call them bunny boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Get
they're
the
really big
shuffle.
and heavy.
Yeah, you
more
kind
of
of
a
had to
shuffle.
skid along.
Hey, Chris, can I get the time and temp, by the way?
Yeah, I wonder if I get the time and the temp.
Okay.
John?
Okay. Firefighters hoping for a break today from the fierce winds that have fueled massive blazes in the Los Angeles area. I'm sorry to laugh during this story. Obliterating whole neighborhoods and setting the nation's second largest city on edge. Yesterday, the Kenneth Fire started in the San Fernando Valley. It moved into neighboring Ventura County, but a large and aggressive response by firefighters stopped the flames from spreading anymore. So far, this number, the fires have burned more than 10,000 homes and structures since Tuesday when it all popped up.
I think the analogous foundational truth failure in New York, the country's largest city, is the crime. Is the feeling of unease on the streets.
Yeah.
I think you could say that in a lot of big cities. Don't you? I mean, that is one thing that should be taken care of immediately. I don't know how either side can argue about that.
Right.
It's get it done.
I think, like you said earlier, Joe, I think this is going to cause a huge sea change politically out there.
I hope so.
That's 10,000. My Lord Almighty. Wow.
I was just looking up how many, like, what size city would 10,000 homes be? Would you get? I mean, is that
I have no
analogous to anything?
idea.
I'm just curious. Okay.
Does Rochester, Minnesota have 10,000 homes?
Well, I'm sure they do.
I don't know.
Okay.
Why are you asking me?
I
My home-
didn't ask you.
My hometown has 26,000 people, so wouldn't that probably be
Yeah.
close to 10,000 homes?
Maybe.
I would
Yeah.
think. Mandan.
What do you got? 2 people in a house?
Well, okay, maybe 7,000 homes,
Yeah.
8,000.
Not everybody lives
And that's
in a
pretty
house.
pretty good size house. Yeah, it's
Like there's
it's also
apartments, like trailer parks.
Okay, it's my turn. Can I get the time and temp?
Yeah, I wonder if I get the time and the temp.
The Supreme Court is set to hear oral arguments today in a case that might determine TikTok's fate in the U.S. At issue is a bipartisan law requiring ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, to sell its stake in the app or face a ban by January 19th. There's more than 170 million U.S. users of TikTok, asking the court to block the law's enforcement, citing First Amendment concerns. The Biden administration says the law is necessary to address national security risks posed by ByteDance's potential ties to the Chinese government. TikTok said it could shut down the app by January 19th if the Supreme Court does not intervene. President-elect Donald Trump filed a brief last month requesting the court delay the deadline, seeking time for his incoming administration to pursue a political resolution, a reversal from previous attempts by him to ban TikTok during his first term.
John,
Why?
thank you very much.
Oh.
I believe we're going to seek out Patrick.
Yes, sir.
All right.
North American Banking Company, though, Joe, first. We have to talk about them. They have become my bank. I was tired of just being a number to my big national bank, and that's why I decided to make the switch to North American Banking Company. Here's why they're different. Every time you walk through one of their doors, they want to take the time to get to know you, your family, and in some cases your business to see what exactly your banking needs are going to be. I like being to go to any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. I usually go between Roseville and 50th and France. Those are my 2 main locations. But you can also see them in Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and also in Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. They are also locally owned and operated. Here's why that's important. That means loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. So this helps business owners solve problems quickly and expand their business with confidence. They deal with numbers every single day, but you will never be one of them. So your first step right now is checking them out online. It's nabankco.com to learn more. nabankco.com. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. Come on.
Try to hear the song. What are you worried about?
Hello? Oh, Patrick, my apologies. My apologies. There you go, Pat.
What are you worried about?
I'm not worried about a dang thing. It was, I was at your hockey game last night, though, in St. Paul, and I'm a little worried about the injuries with no Russian superstar, and their 3 top defensemen aren't playing. So
and it showed, baby. It showed.
Yeah. You don't want to be playing Nathan McKinnon with that lineup.
As long as you were there, did you get any word on the Russian superstar? What's the deal here?
It's a groin. It's groin, but I think I think he's going to play. He's going on a road trip. I think he's going to play. The word during the day was he might play last night, but then they gave him one more game to make sure. They don't want him to yank that thing again. So
Hey now.
But I mean,
he should be careful. Yes,
right. Not with
blades and all.
Wouldn't stop any of us.
Not with his upper limbs, but his lower limbs. they didn't want him to yank that thing again.
I think he was certain.
Anyway.
I think he was certain.
Yes.
But did you see the crowd? 18-9.
Yep.
Again on a Thursday night with the snow. It's amazing. It's amazing though. And I, when it became 4-1, I left. Okay, that's enough. Everybody I'm leaving was happy. They're all slapping each other on the back and saying, you're getting beat 4-1. Why aren't you mad?
You wanted some concern.
Well, yeah, but it's the wild crowd. It's the happiest crowd in the history of Minnesota. Now playoffs start, and then you get the emotions going. But right now, it's just well.
Do they
we'll get 'em
show?
next time, yeah.
Do they show any anger at all during the game? Is there any booing or anything like that?
Very rare at that place.
They have been booed a couple of times, but I think they're getting benediction now because of they don't have their lineup. Did this what's his name, Joe? The guy they traded for, Jirasek or something?
Yeah.
I think they gave up a number one choice for him. Boy, did he look rotten! Holy cow! He didn't know if he was on foot or horseback. He was throwing the puck. How about the nice assist from behind the net? Did you see that?
God, I couldn't believe that. That was it was bad stick handling, wasn't it?
Yes, he missed. He basically half-fanned the puck.
Yeah,
He just pushed it right out to the guy in front. I think Gus the Bus would have liked to hit him with a stick, but he didn't feel like he
I
could
thought
do that.
I thought the coach was going to die right on the spot. Oh my God, the replay of him holding his head in his hand.
I guess I spent too much time watching Notre Dame and Penn State.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's I did not get. I came home just in time to see the winning field goal.
Well, I've got a new irritation with football, both in the NFL and college. What is this constant putting a few seconds back on the clock after a play?
Oh, God.
It's driving me crazy.
And yes, we have to stop the game for 4 minutes, right? But apparently, from what I heard on the radio, the guy who had the worst day of anybody was the guy on the clock.
Yeah.
You got a national semifinal game, and you got Bill from down the street who never worked a game before running the clock. And every 3 minutes, every 3 plays, the guy's saying, "It's 101, dummy, not 58." You got to stop it.
Well, what causes the addition of seconds to the clock? They think it wasn't stopped in time?
It wasn't stopped in time.
What a bunch of BS.
And then
they got a new rule that inside the 2 minutes, if you get a first down, the clock stops. Well, apparently nobody told this guy because he kept it running.
Apparently Reavers has some information here.
Well, I said I have that clip that you were referencing earlier. That's where I thought you were initially going with the Notre Dame football game and Coach Freeman.
No. The other thing I'm weary of, Pat, are these gorgeous young blonde women who work the sidelines and then last night tried to turn this into a racial triumph for Freeman, and he was having none of it.
He blows them off.
Here we go.
They did.
Because you are the first black head coach to go to a national championship game in college football. Just hearing that response alone, how much does this mean to you?
I've said this before. I don't ever want to take attention away from the team. It is an honor, and I hope all coaches, minorities, black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter, great people continue to get opportunities to lead young men like this. But this ain't about me. This is about us.
He's preaching meritocracy, and she's preaching diversity.
Well, but she's told that.
I know, and it's pathetic.
Yeah, it is pathetic. And they also, by the way, we just went through this the other day because him and James Franklin were the first two black coaches to face each other in the national semifinals. Well, let's remember this, for one thing. It isn't like this college football playoff goes back 100 years. We only started, it was 2 teams for years, and then it's only been 4 teams for 8-10 years. So it's just
who's tonight? Texas and who?
Ohio State.
Ohio State, and that's going to be where the Cowboys play.
Yes.
Yes, the Cotton
And
Bowl.
it's going to be the 382nd time that two white guys have taken off.
Yeah, we don't honor that, do we?
Well, let's have an interview about that.
Right.
Ryan Day, are you proud to be a white guy who they wanted to run out of town a month ago because they lost to Michigan, and now you're in the semifinals? What do you think of that? Unbelievable.
I was rooting for the Notre Damers just because of my upbringing, I guess.
Oh yeah, you know you're half Irish, and I got all my. You know, if there's such a thing as the hereafter, we got a lot of Happy McDonald's and O'Malley's from Waldorf and Pemberton and those places down there.
There's 2 Academy grads that are on that team.
Who are they?
Robbie Woolen, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they graduated in they're Gabe's age, so they're not starters or anything like that.
Hey, I was in the car, and God, they went ahead 17-10. They let Penn State go down the field in about 4 seconds, right? Yeah. Man, they just went down, and I thought this ain't good. And then they fell behind, and but they came back and won it. I think Ohio State is going to be I think they win tonight, and they're going to be an armful. But what the heck? You know, I'd say Coach Freeman made a pretty good rally from losing the home opener to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
When they wanted to put him in a cart and mail. You have been the first black coach in Notre Dame history to get run out of town, you know, after losing to Northern Illinois. So,
hey, Pat, if the Twins are to be sold by opening day, who are we talking about?
Is that rumor out there now?
Yes.
Who's
Bobby Nightingale, I believe, reported that.
It said Isthmus, or what are their names?
It's the
Ishbia.
Yeah, the Ishbia.
It's they own there's 2 of them. The one guy's got $15 billion. He owns the Suns, and then the kid, the guy who's the baseball guy, has $5 billion. And
they sell Persian rugs or something, or what?
Real estate.
That's how they started.
Mortgages.
Now they're private equity. You know, they're private equity in New York. But this Ishbia paid $1 billion more than anybody had ever paid for an NBA team. And then he also went and signed all these people, and he's now got them, and they're not playing that well, and they're way into the salary cap hell. But in baseball, all you want is a guy spend money, right?
Yeah.
Right. But the Twins just keep bringing in players. I don't know what people are complaining about. They got another guy off that somebody had released, and we signed and put on the 40-man roster. So, they brought in 8-9 guys.
Yeah.
Some of whom their parents have heard of most of them. So that's good. So, yeah, I don't know. There is a hot rumor that it's going rather rapidly. I think Dan Hayes had something in the Athletic about 3 days ago. I hadn't checked our website yet, but it's. There's something going on because the St. Pete quit, and the club is not doing anything, and the poll ads are basically hiding. So it could happen, I guess. Now it would take longer than that to get approval, though. I'll bet you. I don't think, even if they make the sale, I think it's going to take a while to get approval.
Royce, you kind of patted yourself on the back by I guess you tweeted an old column you did years ago about a hockey family.
1990 on the Hankinsons.
That was, number one, a hell of a piece of writing. But number 2, what a fascinating family. Wow.
Oh, what the quotes from Mom.
Joe, do you know about this family?
Oh, yeah.
The Hankinsons.
Yeah.
I sat next to Bonnie at a hockey game the other night because when I was talking to Casey, the son, I said, "Is your mom going to be there?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Then I'll show it up." So she's a character, to say the least. And I tell you, Kenny, 35 years later, it's one of my 5 favorite columns I've ever written, and it was handed to me on a silver platter. I didn't do any work, because the quotes were so good from Mom.
The old man, when looking for houses, would march right through the house and go to the backyard to make sure there was enough room for an ice rink. That is
great. No trees in the backyard. I love the lead, though, Bob Shire saying, they had 2 sons. One was Peter's, like the most conservative guy ever, and then Ben was crazy. And they were a senior and junior, and Bob Shire is a volunteer assistant coach, and he's down there weeping, and he says, to start it off with saying, I don't know if I'm crying because Peter's leaving or Ben is staying.
Pat,
he's going to go out there and try not to get any penalties, but that ain't going to work.
Joe, I found the answer to your earlier question. The Ishbia family did sustain a lot of success with their Persian Rug Corporation because their tagline was, it ties the room together.
Oh. One of them's building a mansion on Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You told me about that.
Massive.
Okay.
Well, with that kind of money, why in the hell would you live in Illinois?
I don't know.
The younger brother built Michigan State a baseball stadium for like $20 million or something, and they're big Izzo guys too. They're big donators to the NIL fund.
Hey, are we going to have Monday Night Sports Talk actually on a Monday? Because we got to preview this playoff game.
Oh, we do, and what a break for our boys! Now here's the question: they're moving the game to Arizona, which has. We got tens of thousands of transplanted Minnesotans, right, down there, so we think they're going to sell tickets. But let's face it, Kenny, and you can confirm this, about 80% of them are cheap-ass Scandinavians, aren't they?
Right,
Really
absolutely. No.
They're living out in Mesa and, in a trailer park. They're not going to pop for a ticket.
I don't think everyone's really in a trailer park. They're not that there's anything wrong with it.
It's all van lifers. They're all van lifers. They're sleeping in the back of a van.
No, not that bad.
Although we do have to warn you, Patrick, don't be falling for the fake Kwesi tweet again if there is any announcements via social media.
I'm sorry about that, Pat. I should have known.
I went in both feet. That was,
you're really,
taking advantage of the aged is not.
Well, me too. I mean, we should have known it was too good to be true.
Yes, it was. And, I just looked at it. Who didn't know? It says not. I said,
I was so let down when I heard you say that.
But it was, you just, we got issues here. I'm not as sharp as I used to be.
I'll talk to you Monday. In fact, you'll be here Monday.
Yes, sir.
I will be here.
All right. Very good.
We need to talk about our friends at Masters Maples. Well, I almost said that wrong. First of all, let me pull up the ad.
Careful.
Check this out, gentlemen. There it is right there.
Oh, look at that.
There it is right there for all of you.
I forgot about the rubs.
Watching on YouTube. Masters Maples, a brand new partner here in the Garage Logic podcast. Let me tell you something right now. You give your family that Masters Maples, they're never going to want to go back to other types of maple syrup, and that's because they're the absolute best. It's Masters Maples, the owner, Ben. He's a GLer, and his personal passion for maple syrup started about 12 years ago, and he has created quite the monster. It's the absolute best, 100% pure maple syrup, and it's the best because it's from the state of Minnesota. Right, Cohasset, Minnesota, about 3 hours north of the Twin Cities. It's a gluten-free, natural sweetener that can be used in cooking, grilling, and glazing. It also can be turned into pure maple sugar. Their full line of unique flavor syrups can bring so much flavor to meals, but also many health benefits that commonly used refined sugars do not. Simply put, they offer the best 100% pure maple syrup that Minnesota has to offer. And in addition to the traditional pure maple syrup, you can also get the bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup, the maple sugar, and the sweet and savory seasonings and rubs. You can order your bottle of Masters Maples today and taste the difference. All you have to do is go online to mastersmaples.com. That's mastersmaples.com. Masters Maples. Taste the difference.
Today is Friday. TGTIG Friday. It's the scramble!
Oh boy, GLers, do we got something new and exciting for you in 2025. This year, we're celebrating our biggest fans of the podcast by
What do
naming,
you get?
by naming one member of our town council the GLer of the week. Each week throughout all of 2025. I can't wait to talk
Do you
about
get
this
something?
every week in 2025. Just make
What can I win?
that you make sure you tune in every Friday when the GLer of the week will be recognized on the show by Joe.
Yeah, but you're going to win something.
For being one of the biggest fans in all of Gumption County. The GLer of the week will be picked from the list of all annual town council members with an active membership as of this Sunday night. If you are already an annual member, great. You don't got to do anything at all.
You could win something.
Monthly members,
What?
you just need to update your subscription to an annual subscription before Monday. And of course, if you're not a member yet, well, now is the time to join to become one of our first ever GLers of the week. You guys are more than welcome to read this at any point. Along with getting a salute on the show, this month winners will also get a gift box from our good friends at Masters Maples with $50 in maple syrup goodness
Well,
shipped
we're going to do
right
this weekly, right?
to your front door. Each and every single Friday, Joe, we're going to announce a winner right
Well,
here
and
on
you
this
get
show.
something.
Masters Maples.
Yeah, well, that's this week. Next week, you get Masters Maple, but I don't think that's forever and ever in the world. You're going to get syrup. There's going to be other stuff you can win.
We'd like to thank all of you GLers for the support over the years. So sign up right now at garagelogic.com.
Thank you.
We finally have drone activity
Let's go.
in Minnesota.
Okay.
Now the terrible fires in L.A. have pretty much put the UFO mystery off the charts for a while, but we are learning that Red Wing police say 4 to 5 drones have been spotted flying around the nuclear plant. That would be Prairie Island.
Mm-hmm.
According to a press release from the Red Wing Coppers, officers with the Goodhue County Sheriff's Office reported a complaint from the Prairie Island nuclear plant. Turn this page here. And 4 to 5 drones have been spotted flying around. Officers from the Red Wing Police Department and Prairie Island Tribal Police Department responded and said they observed 2 drones flying above nuclear plant and Lock and Dam number 3. Officers say they monitored the drones until they were no longer seen, and according to law enforcement, they cannot find who has been responsible for them. And in case you don't have enough to worry about, who's this from? It's a reliable source. What the hell story? This from a geological institute. The scientists are mystified by massive structures found deep beneath the Pacific Ocean.
Deep beneath?
The Pacific Ocean.
Massive structures deep beneath the ocean.
Miles beneath the ocean, in a region of Earth's mantle where conventional wisdom says nothing should exist, or nothing unusual should exist, scientists have discovered something extraordinary. Using innovative technology to analyze seismic waves, researchers have identified massive structures
What does that
that
mean?
challenge fundamental theories about how our planet formed and evolved. It's as though they discovered a new geological continent, not on Earth's surface, but deep within it. Just as doctors use ultrasound waves to peer inside the human body without surgery, geophysicists employ seismic waves from earthquakes to study Earth's deep interior. When earthquakes occur, they send waves in all directions through the planet. These waves travel at different speeds depending on the materials they encounter, getting bent, bounced, and scattered along the way. By recording these waves at seismic
solutions
stations, scientists can create images of structures deep within Earth, much like creating a medical scan of our planet. Well, what the hell are they? Using one of the world's most powerful supercomputers, the PIZ-DAINT, at CSCS In Lugano, Switzerland, researchers from ETH Zurich and California Institute of Technology have discovered similar wave patterns where they shouldn't exist between vast oceans and continental interiors far from any known plate boundaries. So I'll leave it up to you.
Well, I already know what it is. It's Badlands. Have you been through the Badlands?
I have.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're assuming it's buildings, aren't you?
I'm not assuming anything.
Yeah, I think you are. I think I was reading between the lines. You think it's from an ancient civilization. It's just Badlands.
Buried deep in the mantle of the earth.
No big deal. Next.
Okay. Only because.
That's it? That's all I get out of you?
Yeah.
Hey, you got no fight left in you, Joe.
No, well, okay. I'm going to.
Oh, he's been to the mall.
Here, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Good.
The most of, again, if 75% of these supposed things flying around are headlights flashing in a kitchen window, 25% of them aren't. And there are too many that show these, whatever these things are, going into the ocean and then reemerging. Well, they're going down to their country down there. They got a country
They're going down to the buildings?
Yeah, they got a mall. They got the whole thing. They've been underground. We always think they're coming from outer space.
Right.
Maybe they've been living underground in the middle of the earth, and we
Joe,
don't know it.
I have a question for you. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
It's a Beatles song. I don't know who it is. Captain Ozark.
No.
Under
Think about it.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
I don't know. SquarePants Bob.
Bob SquarePants.
Bob SquarePants Bob, or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
SquarePants Bob. Yes.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
Okay, go ahead. Write it off. I don't care. I got enough on my plate without extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial.
Which episode is your favorite?
Number
SpongeBob?
7.
Okay.
I like where he delivers the pizza and sings the blues. That's the best one.
Yeah. I like the one where Patrick's really, really, really upset because he can't see his own forehead.
Boy, I can see mine.
I love anything with Mr. Krabby because it reminds me of a certain guy I know.
Yeah, now that you brought it up. Huh.
Yeah.
Hello? Is this the Krusty Krab? No, this is Patrick. It's my favorite.
I thought it was a kid show.
Not really.
It's
kids
disguised
love it,
as a kid's
But yeah,
show.
there's some.
Only because they come to us all the way from the traveling Lymans, ensconced temporarily in Lake Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
It's on this day.
Joe, today is...
And that's the only reason we do them. Right. They come to us all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon they'll be coming to us from Africa.
Right.
Maybe they can flag down Karen Bass as she walks by the
Ghana?
game refuge.
Good point.
On this day,
January 10th.
in 1925, this is pretty cool. The Arrowhead was selected as the official moniker for northeastern Minnesota.
Love that.
Yeah, the result of a nationwide contest sponsored by the Northeastern Minnesota Civic and Commerce Association of Duluth. Okay, right away, I have a question. It's our Arrowhead. It's Minnesota. Why did they have a national contest? Why not just a Minnesota contest?
That's a good point.
I don't care what somebody in Nebraska thinks we should call the Arrowhead.
I think we should call it Bumpy Minnesota.
I'm surprised some do-gooder hasn't tried to change the name of it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
On this day.
1-1-0.
Was on this day, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
In 1975. That's how many years ago?
Right after the Vikings lost their
It'll be
fourth Super Bowl.
50 years. I know that because I graduated then, and I have my 50th reunion this year.
50 years ago.
Johnny.
Boy, 100 years ain't what it used to be. In 1975, on this day, a fierce 3-day blizzard struck bringing 1 to 2 feet of snow with some drifts reaching 20 feet and winds up to 80 miles an hour, closing most Minnesota roads, stranding a train at Wilmer, and killing 35 people and 15,000 head of livestock. The St. Pioneer Press reported that an offshoot of an Arctic storm had blasted into the Midwest, commenting that the wind ain't whistling Dixie.
Come on, really?
Whistling Dixie.
That's
I'm
what
not
they
buying
had in
that.
there. I 75. I do remember it. What Super Bowl were the Vikings in 75? Pittsburgh at Tulane University Stadium?
Tulane Stadium, because your favorite venue, the Superdome, was not finished.
Okay, I had to fly out the day of the Super Bowl. Wow, this is weird. Please look up the date of the Super Bowl in 1975.
Did they win that one?
No, they've lost 4, John.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh. What was the date of the Super Bowl?
January 12th, 1975.
Okay.
Tulane Stadium, 80,977. Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't have the score, but Pittsburgh beats Minnesota.
Okay, I can finish the story. The 12th would have been Sunday.
16-6.
Yeah.
The 10th on this day in history in 1975 was Friday, just like today.
That's right.
That's when the blizzard struck. By Sunday morning, I was still scheduled and succeeded in getting to the airport because we still had a private plane at that time. The Star Tribune had a private jet. And I went down the morning of the Super Bowl. But I remember my car was a Ford Pinto station wagon, which might have been the worst car I've ever owned. It was frozen to the garage floor, and it was a stick, I think.
Was this the deluxe?
Yeah, the orange one.
Yeah,
had a radio and a battery.
Well, did you have a school bus, orange Pinto?
Yes.
My roommate in college did. We used to go to the bars in that one.
And I had to rock it back and forth to free it from the floor of the garage, and then I guess our alley must have been plowed, and I got that piece of crap to the airport in this blizzard. I remember this blizzard.
Full on 360s.
That's when I got it.
That's a fascinating story.
So wait a minute.
Kenny, I thought
year,
it lent a little something to this day in
this
history.
year, January 12th, will also then be on a Sunday.
That's right.
Huh?
On this day.
January 10th.
Yikes.
In 1976.
That's kind of fun.
On this day, the very next year, during a heavy snowstorm, 325 cars were damaged in a pileup on a Minneapolis freeway.
Started by an orange Pinto.
Boy, you should at least tell us what freeway it was on this day in history, huh?
76. There weren't many.
Probably
they're
13.
W or 94.
13 down in Burnsville.
No, they're exactly what we have now, probably.
Savage.
The halftime score of that Super Bowl was 2-0.
Minnesota, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Pittsburgh was up 2-rip.
That's very
It's a cold, rainy day in New Orleans.
Oof.
That was the year Pat sat between Jim Murray and Red Smith, two of the greatest sports writers in the history of the world. And Pat said, well, here we are, boys. 3 of the greatest sports writers in the world. That was also the day he turned around and asked Bruce Smith in Duluth if he had a nail clipper.
He was the guy.
Of course, Bruce didn't have arms.
It was. I just went to newspapers.com the next day. It was 35W in South Minneapolis. At least 4 chain reaction accidents, 325 cars.
How did he write? If he didn't have
that's
arms?
my question.
He had stubs to which were attached some device that allowed him to tap. He could type better than I could.
God, I bet that was fun to watch.
Yeah, he could type like a crazy man. I mean, he
That's
was
a side show
He looked like
act.
Keyboard Cat.
Yeah, he was good, man. Hey, Brucey, you got to... never mind.
Hey, Bruce, forget that. You live around here?
Never mind.
You live around here?
I guess you wouldn't need it.
Thank you, jailers.
Bruce took it well. I'm not done. In yet another day in history.
Somebody has to take
You going to stick around for the sound story?
You got time. And finally, on this day...
On January 10th.
In 2012... Oh, God, here we go.
Yeah, you probably could have skipped that
John, if I had read ahead, I would have skipped it. Susan Allen, who I don't recall, was elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives in a special election. She was the first Native American lesbian to serve in the state legislature.
We were doing that all the way back then, huh?
In 2012, we were worried about the first Native American lesbian. So this abandonment of truth has been around us a long time. Not that she was an abandoner of truth. I don't know whatever happened to her, and I probably won't even look her up. Maybe you could real quickly, John.
I have to. You know.
Yeah,
how
you
my
know. I know
mind
you
works.
do. I know you do.
Thank you, Jim.
No, John's looking up Susan Allen. Did she go
now I'm
on
feeling
to
pressure.
fame and fortune?
Susan Allen, an American politician.
Yep. Yep.
One of 4 openly gay members. She was reelected in 2012, 2014, and 2016. She did not seek reelection in 2008. She works as an attorney specializing in serving Indian tribes, Lakota member of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, and she now is working as an attorney.
I'll be damned.
Can I say something
Yes.
before you thank GLers? GLers, if you're watching us on YouTube, to quote the kids, smash that like button. We appreciate that if you could do that for us. That's all.
Smash the what?
The like button.
The like button.
Yeah. Just
All
give us a like.
That's good advice.
Let's go.
If you haven't discovered us on YouTube, well, then shame on you. Because, yes, Garage Logic has a YouTube channel. And each and every single day, we're doing that show on our YouTube channel, starting right around noon every single day. You can also see full segments, video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage in some cases. It's all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And you can follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All you got to do is search Garage Logic, and don't forget to sign up for the Daily Logician. It's an email, comes right to your inbox each and every single day. It includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, I need you to give me the show description, please. Joe.
An examination of the